welcome back to the channel. And today's video is going to be a fun one. We're going to pick up a car and my wife is going to kill me. All right, so the first thing we got to do, we got to hook up the trailer, get it hooked up to the truck, get it ready to roll. And I need a haircut bad, but that's not going to happen today because we're going to pick up this car. All hooked up, ready to go. Let's go get it. Give you a little bit of background on my way to go pick this thing up, and sorry if there's some wind noise. I've got a ladder on the roof, and it's kind of making some noise, but oh well. So me and this particular car, I learned about this car about 8 years ago when I worked for another solar company, and I had to go out to his house to do something. Work on his monitoring or something like that, whatever it is. Oh, bridge. Anyway, so got out there and saw this thing sitting in his garage and was like, oh, it was piled with stuff. And he was like, oh yeah, it's this car and it's one of my projects. Okay, cool. Well, about 5 years ago, he invited me out he was pulling it out of the garage. And he's been kind of getting a little bit of the itch to get rid of it because he's not doing anything with it. He's getting older. And so I came over, checked it out, took a bunch of pictures of it, was completely enthralled with it. But the price that he wanted, I couldn't justify, because of what I could use it for, which is going to be a promotional tool for my business. And when you see it, you'll kind of understand why that's really all I can use it for. Another bridge. Anyway, so I'd send him tickets to the home show every year that I display at, and he would come, and him and his wife would stop by, talk for a little bit, and his wife would keep asking me when I'm going to come take it and give it a good home, blah blah blah. But I just couldn't justify the cost of this thing. But little by little, the price came down. So this last year at the home show, I made him an offer, and I said, "Look, I know it's not what you want, but that's what it's worth to me, and because of what I can use it for. I mean, hell, to even drive this thing at all, I have to trailer it to someplace. So because of where I live, it's not really going to be safe to drive it." He understood, but it still wasn't how much he wanted for the thing. So last week he calls me and he says, "It's time to get rid of this thing. I'd like you to buy it because I know what you use it for, and you get a kick out of it." I said, "All right, well," he said, he reminded me what my last offer was on it, and he said, "I'll take it." And so I said, "Okay, and done deal." More bridges, shaking everything up. That's a problem with not having a solid mount in the vehicle when you're driving, trying to YouTube. But anyway, so he said, "Come get it." I said, "All right, let's do it." So just pulled up into the guy's house. Look, he's vacuuming it out for me. Isn't it? It's so awesome. This guy's so cool. He used to be a electrical engineer, and which is why he had this car. So it's so awesome. But you can barely see it back there. It's awesome. I just stopped to grab some lunch. The amount of looks this thing is getting is insane. I don't think you could drive a Lamborghini through these parking lots and get more reactions from people than what I'm getting with this car on the back. It's pretty funny. So I can't wait to dig into it. Get it out on the road. Just made it home, and now it's time for the big unveiling. I give to you the world, the Zagato Zelee.
That's right, a 1975 Zagato Zili. Imported from Italy into the United States as an L car from 1974 to 1976. About 500 were built in total, and I think about 50 made it here. It shares many parts with a Fiat 500 and 124s. Unfortunately, it doesn't share any of the good looks that Zagato was famous for at the time, but this one's mine, and I'm pretty stoked about it. These little bricks of fiberglass goodness were sold for $3,500. Let me say that again, $3,500. Do you realize what was available in 1975 for $3,500? Well, let me tell you, you could start with a Ford Pinto or even an AMC Pacer. Mid 70s were kind of rough. You could turn it around for a Dodge Dart, looks a lot better. And then you turned it into a Mustang 2, which is pretty heinous. However, you could always get a base Camaro. Not bad for the V6. Or you could get a convertible Bug, or save $1,000 and get a standard Bug. I'd really like to say that the Zili is ugly, but when you compare it to those others, it isn't too bad in the looks department for that time. I found an article in Popular Mechanics where they were giving away one of these without a body. The contest was to design an aesthetically pleasing body. I'll let that sink in a bit. Mechanically, it had between a 1,000-watt and a 2,000-watt motor and a 48-volt battery bank underneath the floor. It had a speed selector that gave you 6 forward speeds and 2 speeds in reverse. Even with all those fancy speeds, it still maxed out about 30 miles an hour on its 10-inch wheels. The system evidently caused issues, as if you didn't start in the first speed, it would tend to blow a fuse, leaving you stranded, with plenty of time to contemplate the error of your ways. Thankfully, that system was removed from this one in favor of a more typical controller setup. With batteries, it weighs about 1,000 pounds, and without the batteries, it cuts it in half. As you can see, I'm pulling it off the trailer by myself. There we go. Watch your step there, pal. Don't get run over by the 45-year-old car. It wouldn't be good. There you go. Good job.
So, really excited about this project. It's going to be cool. It kind of makes sense now, like I told you about how, it's not practical for just driving around. It's really small. So, but it's a real car, and we'll dive more into this particular one next time. So thanks for coming by, and like it, subscribe it, all that good stuff.